It's an honor for me to be here at the White Page International Leadership Conclave. My name is Bertha Wakisa Chiudza. I'm from Malawi, but currently based in South Korea. I'm looking forward to this opportunity to network with various leaders in the space, and I'm also looking forward to sharing about leadership, about entrepreneurship, particularly amongst the youth in Africa. And I believe that this will be a very good opportunity for all of us to come together and look forward and forge ahead with regards to leadership across the continent. Thank you so much.
Passionate Greek entrepreneur, Bertha founded two sustainable initiatives in Malawi, Risu Garden and Event Center, and more recently a startup, Sinde Eco Empowered.
I'm going to talk to you today about redefining African entrepreneurial leadership. But first of all, I want to inform you that one of the days I had a very good conversation with my friend, and we were talking about leadership and entrepreneurship in Africa. And then sometime last year, I came across a LinkedIn post that also talked about more or less like the same issues that we were talking about with my friend. So this actually provoked my thoughts or my thinking about Africa and leadership, but from an entrepreneurship perspective. And there are quite a number of publications that have also been done with regards to youth unemployment in Africa, and also some are also going beyond that challenge, but looking at how can we foster entrepreneurial leadership on the continent. So maybe I may have to ask you a question if you have heard these assertions or questions before. African young entrepreneurial leaders are not up to date with the global trends. Hence, they fail on the market, on the global market. I'm sure you've heard about that several times maybe. And then there's also another question that people keep on asking. Why is it that despite all the investments, all the aid that is given to African countries to address youth unemployment, majority of their economies are still not changing or developing? That's another question that I'm sure you have also heard in the discourse. Now, let me give you some statistics to put it into context. Youth unemployment rate in Africa is extremely high, averaging over 20% across the continent. And in some countries, it's actually 70 to 80%, particularly in the sub-Saharan Africa, including Malawi, where I am from, which has got like the highest rates in terms of youth unemployment. But we have seen that over time, a lot of young people are entering in the market, but this is not driving the economic growth and wealth creation that is expected, because more than 1 in 4 young people in African economies are not employed or in education or in training. And the African Development Bank actually estimates that up to 12 million youth in Africa enter the workforce. That is only 3.1 million jobs that are available. So we have got 12 million youth that are actually entering the workforce. That has got only 3.1 million jobs available, and consequently, 1.7 million jobs are actually needed, or they are needed to be created for each month, so that at least we are able to meet the employment needs. In as much as Africa is also boasting of the world's highest rates of entrepreneurship, the challenge is that this entrepreneurship is mainly self-employment in the informal sector. And this is what the ILO or International Labour Organization classifies as vulnerable employment. So 95% of Africa's working youth fall in this category, compared to 50% of the Americas, Europe, and as well as Asia. And vulnerable employment is actually reflected by low productivity, low earnings, as well as even difficult working conditions. But there's a glimpse of hope. And for me, that's what I always hold on to, and also forward-looking. Despite all these challenges, African youth continue to have strong entrepreneurial spirit, leading to entrepreneurship being considered as the solution to Africa's job challenges. Youth in Africa are actually its own greatest asset. Faced with the realities of joblessness, many youth see entrepreneurship as their future. Increasing influence of the digital technologies continues to provide new opportunities for innovation across the different sectors on the continent. The emerging green leaders, as well as entrepreneurs on the continent, or climate-smart entrepreneurs on the continent, continues to bring hope to economic development. That makes significant contribution to eliminating unemployment, environmental, as well as even the social challenges, as our minister also mentioned earlier on. So consider this. Micro, small, and medium enterprises account for 80 to 90% of the jobs on the continent, making them significant contributors to socio-economic development. Brian Roland actually said, African entrepreneurs are not just constrained with limited resources, they are inspired by them. They find ways to make it work and to create value, to employ others and to contribute to their economies and communities. Someone told me actually at some point that you cannot treat what you haven't yet diagnosed. So I'm happy to network with all of you here through this platform as sustainable solutions, as well as any pressing issues that we may have in entrepreneurship and leadership are actually linked with one another. So as we continuously identify the gaps and taking minimum resources and turning into successful businesses that first cater for local needs as well as cultures, as leaders, we need to ask ourselves, should we continue to lament about lack of economic opportunities amongst the youth? Or should we make notable and sustainable investments in Africa, small and medium enterprises, so that we have a much larger impact and more so sustainable impact? In conclusion, for me, redefining the African entrepreneurship, especially amongst the youth, is more about these 5 things. Number 1, it's about rethinking the untapped skill sets and leadership from an entrepreneur's perspective. So we have to rethink and tap skill sets that are already existing. We need to leverage on the existing opportunities and potential that is existing. Leverage on the passion and the mission that most of young people are actually entering into leadership and entrepreneurship, so we need to leverage on that passion and the mission that most young people have. It is also about celebrating resilience, innovation, and growth. And for me, resilience is one of the things that has also kept me up to today. It's about letting the African youth themselves, the African young entrepreneurs, identify potential ventures to address their pressing needs. Those needs need to be defined by the youth themselves. They know where it is itching the most, or where it is paining the most. We are here to think not just small businesses or leadership for my village in Malawi, for example, but at national level and even at continental and global level. So for me, I also always think like that. I'm from Malawi, I'm based in South Korea, but I'm always thinking globally. So that's why I always call myself as a global citizen. So what are the things that I'm actually learning from the other space, and how do I bring that to elevate other young people, particularly on the continent and in my country as well? And I believe that together, we can all do it. Let's connect, innovate, and inspire other leaders in the space for a better today and tomorrow. Shukran. Kansamida, Zikomo, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.